Hello, everyone. I'm Dee, and I'm here to help you practice yoga and how to modify. Just giving you different suggestions for different asanas that we'll practice together today. So take a seat, whether you're seated on the floor, elevating your hips with perhaps a block, if that's comfortable for you to sit on, or a blanket or rolled up towel. We'll need a strap for today's class as well. With your feet on the floor or with your legs in any comfortable position seated, the first thing I like to cue is to just let your seat be an easy seat. So sitting up nice, straight and tall on the sits bones. If you're in a chair, leaning your back so that you can rest on the back of the chair. You can put a blanket back behind you if that helps. You can elevate your hips a little more. Um, if you have long legs. You can put blocks under your feet if your legs are shorter, or if this is more comfortable for you. Maybe your knees are in a better position here. No matter what you've chosen, go ahead and close down the eyes and begin to let the breath ease in and out of your body, coming in through the nose and leaving through the nose, if possible. If you're congested, go ahead and open your mouth and breathe that way. Just continue to let the breath enter and leave. Continue bringing your awareness inside. And today, let's work on having the intention that will bring our breath into our body, along with our mind, right? Into the breath. And we'll connect there when we're in different asanas. And we'll enjoy the shape of that pose, the stretch we're getting. Maybe we'll enjoy the strength we're building. Having that intention, though, to keep the breath moving within the body and to keep the focus on the breath. Let your next inhale be a little deeper, and let's move into belly breathing. I like to think of belly breathing as filling up and emptying a balloon with air and letting your abdomen be the source of where that balloon is. So as we inhale, the stomach kind of creeps out into the room. And as we exhale, we'll pull it in. We'll just feel the tissues being pushed out and then being pulled in with each breath. Keep it up for 5 to 10 more breaths. And if your mind should happen to wander, bring it back to the momentum and the rhythm of your breathing. And know that it's okay for the mind to wander, for us to think of things or to have emotions or feelings coming up. Let your next exhale set your breathing back to its own rhythm, releasing the control. Letting the breath ebb and flow. From here, let's slowly begin to move our fingers and our toes. Just these smallest of joints in our body. Try not to move your feet or your hands yet. Just a little challenge to isolate. And then bring the movement into the hands, maybe making fists and then opening the palms, Bring it into the feet, maybe curling the feet, lifting and lowering the toes or the heels, or pointing and flexing, maybe making circles. You can stay seated in your chair. Let's grab our strap. I'm going to model sitting for a little while on a mat, on a piece of elevated prop of some kind or another. So sitting in an easy pose once again with legs in a comfortable position and the strap in your hands. Let's do some arm stretches, taking about the middle of the strap. Let's bring in our hands up to shoulder height, wrapping our fists around the strap. And first, let's just begin to go from left to right. And maybe your arms are getting heavy. It's okay to not have them up as high. It's okay to not bring them up ever up that high. You're still getting this nice stretch from side to side, and you're still strengthening your arms as you keep them lifted any amount. Let the head just kind of go with the strap, side to side. Notice what your hips might be doing, what your knees or thighs might be doing to compensate for this movement. Then see if you can begin to get your head to go opposite of your arms. So you'll slow the head down or move the arms without moving the head. And we'll go from side to side, just letting our body dictate where we are in moving in space here. Let's go one more time to each side, and then we'll lower the arms and shake them out. Maybe roll the shoulders, roll the head a little bit, look down from side to side. Whatever movement makes your body, your back, your neck, feel okay. All right. We'll pick up the strap once again, and this time we'll floss the shoulders. So we want to walk the hands out fairly wide side to side. And it'll depend on what the tightness is you have in your shoulders or how loose you can move your shoulders in their range of motion. When you're ready, inhale your arms up overhead. And then figure out, can you go back behind you like your hands are, or do you need to widen them some more? How wide do they need to come out to feel comfortable? That's what you want to know so that you can begin to lift and lower to the front and then lift and lower to the back. Use your breath. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Let's bring the arms and the strap back around to the front. And from here, let's give ourselves a comfortable distance between hands. We want to be able to bring the arms up over our head again, but it doesn't matter how close the hands and the arms are to the head. So when you're ready, inhale and begin to lift the strap up, knowing you can adjust as you lift the strap up over your head. And once you're there, take a deep inhale. Try to make the knuckles, the top of your knuckles, reach towards the sky. And as you exhale, let the, whatever side you're going to bend to, let that arm that becomes the lower arm and hand sort of pull you over and open you here. You can relax the hand on the ground if that helps support you. You can use a block to prop up that hand at your side if that helps support you. And then when you're ready, inhale and come straight up over the center again. Exhale, release your arm to the opposite side. Stay here for a breath or two, breathing into the opened ribs. And then inhale to bring your hands and arms up overhead. And exhale releasing the arms by your side. We'll put the strap away. And we will move up into table from here. So maybe you are on your chair and you can actually stay on your chair to do this next set of asanas from that position. So let me show you one time with the table position, and then I'll show you what I would do if I was in the chair. So from table, press your hands and your knees into the floor and round your back. Pick up your navel and just kind of suck it in towards the spine as much as you're able. Then begin to release the navel. Start to lift your head. Your pelvis is coming into its normal neutral position, back's flat. And then continue to release the belly. Continue to release that navel. Let your back arch as your tailbone lifts and your head lifts to look at the top of your mat. Keep going back and forth in these cat-cows. Moving the spine. Undulating each of the bones in that lineup. Let's bring our spine to neutral and let's lift one knee up off the mat. So you'll have to press into the two hands in the opposite knee. Lift that knee up and just keep your belly steady here with the knee slightly lifted above the mat. And if you have a prop that's helping to cushion your knees, it's slightly above. When you're ready, switch to the other side and lift the opposite knee. Let's come back to center now, and we're going to begin cat-cows again. So I'm going to come back up onto a chair. Doing cat-cows from a chair, you want to be seated. If you need blocks under your feet, go ahead, put them there. But what I'd like you to do is scoot your hips away from the back of the chair now and let your knees stay at a right angle with your feet flat on the floor right next to each other, toes right ahead of heels. To come into cat-cow, you can either use your arms or not, but begin to round your spine. See if you can start to droop your chest back, your shoulders forward, your chin down. And then inhale, press the hands against the thighs and begin to lift the head, lift the chest, arch the back, pressing into the sits bones. Go back and forth here. Here's an example without using the arms, letting the hands support the body here. And here's an example using the arms. We can inhale the arms out, send them back behind us as we arch, and bring the hands back together right in front of us, chin tucked, as we round. So a seated version of cat and cow. Maybe you're at table doing cat and cow, right? That's fine too. Bring your spine to neutral now, and once again, pick up one of your knees and let it hover. If you're seated, you're picking up a foot off the floor and you're letting the knee hover. You're taking a few breaths, you're maintaining the integrity of your core. Exhale to release one knee. Inhale to lift the opposite knee. Maybe you're using your hands under the leg if you're seated. Exhale to release. Next, we'll go a little further from whichever position you're at. See if you can lean into one side, lift one knee slightly off the mat, let it hover, and then open it out to the side, bring it back in, and then set it down. So it's a 4-part movement or 3-part movement. 1, 2, I was right, 4, 3, 4, okay? And we'll do that on each side. Just opening the foot out to the side, maintaining, once again, the integrity of the core, keeping those muscles all around the middle part of the body really tense, and then feeling kind of how other tissues help support that are nearby. All right, if you're at a table, come on down to a low table on your forearms, and let's all move our wrists. On this low table, you're kneeling, leaning on your forearms, or seated in a chair as I'm demonstrating. From here, we're going to move into sunbird. If you're on your hands and knees, you're going to stretch one foot back and one arm forward, and then we'll switch to the opposite side. If you're seated, we'll do the same. We'll lift one arm and one leg, holding on to the chair. We can choose whether we extend this leg or not, but we want to feel the length from the seat of the chair through the fingertips, and also the length from the hip reaching out into space in front of you through the foot. Okay, so let me model that from our tabletop. We'll stretch the foot we were working with out. We'll stretch the opposite hand forward. We can hover fingers and toes, or we can lift to being horizontal with the floor, holding on to that middle part again, tightening up the core. And let's exhale, releasing. And if you're seated in a chair, come into a forward fold. Just let your upper body fold down towards your lower body. If you were at table, come into child's pose. Take a few breaths, knees together or apart, big toes touching. On the next inhale, let's get ready to do sunbird on the opposite side. So maybe it's the right leg that's back now, left arm's forward. If you started on the opposite side, your left leg's back and your right arm's forward. Inhale to maybe hover, maybe bring to parallel, using the core, and then releasing. Sinking back into child's pose, perhaps sinking into puppy dog if that's more comfortable for you. Inhale, and we'll lift right back up, coming into our table or seated in our chair from our forward fold. We'll sit up nice and tall. From here, let's begin to switch sides again, extending opposite leg, opposite arm. We'll draw our knee towards our elbow. So we're rounding, bringing elbow knee together, and then extending through that leg and that arm, reaching out. If you're seated, it might look more like this, or this, or maybe just bringing the foot a little bit off the ground and stretching up through this arm. And maybe the arm is lifted only out to the side, maybe. So switch sides, bringing elbow to knee. Sorry, we can also bring elbow to knee. Seated. Multitasking here today, but it's fun. All right, let's all make our way to standing. We're going to use the chair as we stand. But first, determine how your balance is feeling today. And maybe use the chair to come into mountain. Maybe come into mountain without using a chair. Maybe staying seated if you're not feeling well, you don't have a lot of energy. That's how you're choosing to modify your yoga today. Decide what you need to make yourself comfortable in whatever position you've chosen. And then inhale, see if you want to lift your arms out and up in a sun breath. Exhale, release the arms down by your side slowly. Keep moving with your breath. Working at your pace. Moving rather at your pace. Last one. And we'll release our hands on that exhale, bringing them down by our sides. From here, let's hold on to the back of a chair. Or we could actually do this from the wall, but we will do it from the wall later. I wanted you to feel this if you have a chair. If you don't have a chair, you don't need a chair or the wall, come into downward facing dog from a forward fold. What I've done using the chair to do this is I've walked away from the back of the legs and I'm walking my feet back farther and farther as I lower my upper body to the floor. I'm going to stop my feet when the heels are right underneath the hips and my upper body has come into the shape of an L, with the hips being the right angle. Now, see if you can release your head through your arms. Let your shoulders release through your arms, your chest. And then inhale, lift your head, come back into that L shape, and begin to continue to lift your body up as you walk your feet towards the chair. Facing the chair now, let's come into a modified lunge, high lunge. So, placing the chair in the middle of your mat, stand in front of the chair and lift one foot, placing it on top. Now, bend forward, reaching your hands out to touch the seat of the chair, and see if you can hop the foot back behind you. Another option is to start a little farther away, bend forward to hold on, then lift the foot. You will figure out what way works best for you, but we'll sink our knee and our hips towards the chair, that forward knee and both hips squared to the floor. We'll extend the back leg behind us. We're using the chair to support us. We're holding on where it makes sense, given the proportions of our limbs. And now let's inhale, press ourselves, lift up away from the chair. See if you can reach around, maybe touch a wall or some furniture with a flat back, lifting your chest away from that forward thigh. Press into the heel and lift through the toes, bringing them towards your shin bone as you stand up nice and tall. Leg being held up by the chair. Then we'll release that leg and we'll switch to the opposite side, using whatever technique works for your body to stretch the left leg long now. Or if you started on the opposite side, you're stretching the right. Feel your hips sink towards the chair. Use your arms to support you in whatever way needed. And then when you're ready, press up and back. Keep that heel glued to the chair. And then you can lift the toes. You could be doing this on your mat, not using a chair at all, right? All right, release the foot and come back up to mountain pose. Now, You may want to balance without using a prop like a chair, a wall, blocks, but you may want to have those with you for this, depending on what you're feeling like today. So from either a seated position on a chair or from mountain, let's do some toe tapping and some leg balancing. We want our leg closest to our support here to be our standing leg. So we'll bend the opposite knee. From here, let's do some toe tapping. First, forward. So reach the toes, extend the leg as far forward as you can, and then pull the knee up and bring the heel back towards you. Then, next time you lift your knee, cross the leg in front of you and toe tap to the opposite side. So you're drawing the leg in and over and toe tapping from this standpoint. Coming back to square and then reaching that same foot and toe, set of toes, over to the opposite side. Let's release that leg, shake both legs out, and we'll move to the other side. You can face away from the camera or move your chair to the opposite side. Pop the knee, bringing, excuse me, your weight onto that standing leg. And as we draw our toes forward, we'll toe tap, extending the leg, reaching the toes out in front of us, keeping that hip square though with the standing leg hip. And then as you're ready, next time your knee is lifted, do the crossover tap, cross body tap, bringing the knee and foot back into alignment and then crossing it over to toe tap. Doing as many or as few of these as you'd like, releasing as you're ready and shaking it out. If you'd still like to use your chair, go ahead and use your chair. We're going to come into tree pose on the right. So again, you're using a chair, stand with the standing leg close to whatever piece of furniture, maybe it's the wall you're using. That's the standing leg. Pop the opposite knee. We'll open that knee out to the side. So notice the knee moves, the foot moves, the toes and knee point in the same direction, 90 degrees to whatever leg you started with, right? Stay here or draw your feet closer together, keeping the standing leg right underneath. Maybe lift your foot to the lower part of your leg or lift your foot to the upper part of your leg. From seated, your tree can be anything from this, one knee out to the side, ankles crossed. You can inch the foot up. Maybe you can bring it to the inside and hold it here. Making yoga your own. If you'd like to lift your branches towards the sky, getting those rays from the sun, helping the tree grow. From here, let's move into palm tree. So come up on both tiptoes, lift your hands above the air, and walk around on your tiptoes, deciding if it's a windy day or not. Letting your arms sway if it is. Keeping the balance nonetheless. And then as you're ready, setting up for your tree on the opposite side. I think I'll use the wall this time again. All right. Standing in mountain, bending the knee of the outside leg, turning it out to the side, drawing the feet together or not, keeping the toes quite a distance away from the standing leg foot, deciding where your tree is going to be, how your lower legs are going to balance, pressing the foot in and pressing the standing leg towards the foot, growing your branches. And then releasing this to come up onto both tiptoes, walking around with your hands above your head in palm tree, stretching the whole body, full body stretch. All right, next, we're going to head into Warrior Three. You can either use a wall or a chair. You can use blocks as well. So let's walk the feet away from the back of the chair, just like we did before. We're going to lower our upper body, but we're not going to come into down dog. So let's not move too far away from the chair, maybe even rest the forehead on the chair. Now press into one foot and lift up and back with the opposite foot. See if you can keep the lifted foot heel tensed, pressing away from the body, and see if you can keep the leg that you lifted, that hip needs to be even with the opposite side. So you're really pressing into that standing leg foot. Maybe you're keeping your toes back behind you and you're keeping your upper body mostly lifted. And maybe this here, with your body leaning, lifting slightly one of the back legs and foot. This is how your Warrior Three can look. Exhaling to release, shaking the legs out. Let's come into Warrior Three on the opposite side. Letting yourself explore with what is the best method. How do you keep yourself stable and still get a nice benefit from your yoga practice? And I think the answer to that question is keeping your practice right in the middle, never having it be too much, never having it be too little. Just letting your body decide. Releasing on the next exhale from your Warrior Three. All right, next. Let's try to use the wall. Maybe that won't work for you, and if that's the case, please use a chair. I'm going to give the directions for the wall first. Stand next to the wall so that your hip is almost touching or touching. We can set a block out in front of our body so that as we come into a half forward fold, we might be able to reach down and steady our upper body on this block. We could also reach down and steady the upper body on the chair. Maybe figuring out which way to orient the chair, right? So what we'll do from here is we'll come into half moon by lifting the back foot that's away from the wall, not towards the wall. So lift the outside foot and see if you can turn and stack your shoulders and hips on top of each other. You could be here and you could keep your foot on the both feet on the floor, at least the big toe of the back leg. You could be here. You could be anywhere in between. You could have your hands on a block or on a chair. And if you want, you can lift the top arm. Only stay as long as you're comfortable. Inhale, flatten your back, come to standing. And let's set up half moon on the opposite side. This time, let me show you half moon on the chair, since you've already seen it just now against the wall. All right, so we'll be the same distance from the chair so that we can reach it with our hands, maybe under our shoulders or a little forward of our shoulders. Then stepping into the foot on the inside closest to the wall or farthest away from the screen. See if you can begin to lift, open, and stack one half of your body on top of the opposite. Releasing as you'd like, coming back into the shape if you'd like. Feeling more extension than you did the last time, or maybe you got more extension your first time. And maybe coming into down dog again, using the wall. Placing your hands shoulder height, walking down the wall as you adjust the distance of your legs and feet. Releasing the head and neck as you press into the wall, press into your feet. Inhale to come up from there, or come right down onto the mat, bending the knees, letting the hips float down and sink back behind you. We'll come into a comfortable seated position. Maybe you're electing now to come to a seat on a chair. That is fine too. Place your legs in any position. We're going to come into a forward fold, with the feet coming in towards the body as much as possible. We want to get a stretch in the hips. So when you're ready, inhale your arms up, stretch towards the sky. Exhale, slowly release, lowering your body forward. Maybe coming down onto your forearms, relaxing and rounding your head, neck, and chest, shoulders. Inhaling, let's walk our hands towards our legs to give ourselves the support we need to come right back up to seated. All right. From here, let's move into shoestring legs. Several choices. From staff pose, we can cross one leg over the other, or we can bend that top knee, bringing the foot to the other side hip. We can leave one leg extended, or we can fold that leg back in and under, bringing the thighs as close together as possible, or perhaps from a seated chair, crossing one leg over the other. Okay? Paying attention to which leg is in front or on top. Sitting up nice and tall. Let your next exhale turn your chest, rotate your arms, one in front, one in back, and begin to look back behind you, drawing your chin towards your back shoulder as you go. Stay here for a breath or two, maybe deep into the belly, like we did at the beginning of class. And then slowly begin to make your way back to forward facing. This time, we'll change our legs. Opposite leg crosses over. If we're seated, we cross the leg. If we want to come into some version of shoestring, bringing the feet on up towards the body. Sitting tall, let's breathe, inhale. Let's breathe a little length into our spine. Exhale, begin to shift and turn to the opposite side, floating your head back behind you. Your eyes go back, your chin towards the back shoulder. Belly breathing, 2 to 3 breaths here. And then exhaling to release, bringing the chest, hands, and arms forward. Let's uncross, and we'll go ahead and lay down supine on the mat, on our backs, with our knees bent to the sky and our feet on the floor. You can use your strap here if you'd like. Sorry, I should have mentioned that before you laid all the way down. You can use your strap. You definitely don't have to. Let's inhale, bringing the right knee towards the chest. So the strap can come in handy if you like to place it on top of the leg that you're drawing in, and then use the strap in the hands to draw this leg towards you. Take a few breaths here. And then take the strap, place it behind the foot, and extend this leg and foot up into the sky towards the clouds. Relax your hands and arms, bring your elbows and upper arms to the floor. Inhale, pressing into your sacrum, pressing into the back of your hip, that flat bone. Press through the lifted heel on the inhale, and exhale, draw this leg towards you. Take a few breaths here, holding onto the strap, stretching the back of this leg. We'll now move from here into a piriformis stretch. So we want to bring the lifted foot onto the top of the opposite knee. And now the lifted leg has a bent knee out to the side, the right knee. You can press away from you and draw it back. You can stay here, or you can interlace your hands behind the left thigh, lift the left foot off the floor, draw the legs in. You can use your strap to lasso your legs and draw them towards your body. You can use an elbow or a forearm to press away the thigh that is angled out. You can even rock from left to right. Long neck. Let's come back to center if you were rocking. Exhale, and we'll release the legs, letting them float down towards the mat, feet on the floor, knees bent to the sky. And let's draw just the left knee in now. Using the strap or not, using the hands only, maybe in the arms. Wind relieving pose. Long neck once again, chin not lifted. Let's release the legs so that we can loop the strap around to the back side of the foot, and let an inhale extend the left leg towards the sky. Hands slide down the strap till the upper parts of the arm and elbow are resting gently on the floor. Inhale, feeling the pressure in your sacrum pressing into the floor. Lengthen up through the leg by pressing through the left heel. Exhale, drawing the foot towards you, keeping the knee as unbent as is comfortable, not worrying if it's a little bent. Taking a few breaths before bending that left knee, turning the knee out to the side. The foot comes opposite, rests on the lower knee. You can release the strap. From there, coming into piriformis stretch, pressing the thigh away, maybe holding on to the strap, lassoing the legs, maybe interlacing fingers behind the right thigh, drawing the legs in and rocking back and forth. Let's come back to center. We'll release our legs, let the feet float down to the mat, and you get to choose whether you come into happy baby or butterfly pose. So you can either draw the knees in towards you, lift the feet away from the hips, bring the heels on top of the knees, reach up for the feet, or maybe hold on to the lower legs somewhere, or the knees, the backs of the knees, and draw the legs toward you. Happy baby. Or come into reclined butterfly, pressing the soles of the feet together, releasing the knees and the thighs out to the side, opening the legs, breathing here. Arms maybe down by your sides, maybe on top of the thighs or underneath, supporting the legs. Blocks could be underneath supporting the legs. Nice. On the next inhale, let your knees lift. Come back onto the soles of each foot. Let's walk the feet out wide and let your knees lower one direction. Inhale your arms out wide like wings. Keep both shoulders well grounded and see if it works to turn your chin away from your knees, spiraling the spine into a twist. A few breaths here in stillness. And then on the next inhale, lift the knees up and lower them to the other side. Let the head revolve towards the opposite shoulder as the knees ease towards the floor. Take a few breaths here. Let the next inhale bring everything back to center, head and legs. And let's go with a few more windshield wipers here, just 3 or 4 from side to side here. From your windshield wipering, move into student choice. Listen to what your body has to say. Maybe you need a full body stretch. Maybe you need to come into the seed pose, lifting your nose towards your knees while they're in towards your chest. Maybe you need happy baby again, or if you did butterfly, do happy baby or vice versa. Maybe you need a full body stretch. Take a couple more breaths and then settle your body into a comfortable position for final shavasana. And we're going to take a little bit longer of a shavasana today. Either putting our legs on a chair, on the seat of a chair, parallel to the ground, or we can position ourselves to place our legs up a wall. So sitting right next to a wall with your one hip right towards the wall, shimmy your body, your upper body, so that you can lay it down, coming onto your elbows, and then send your legs up the wall. Maybe once you're down, you can scoot your hips towards the wall more or away from the wall more. If you had something heavy like a blanket, you could even use a couple of blocks. The best thing to use is a nice sandbag on your feet, but we'll do what we have available. Settle ourselves into a comfortable position, arm close or as far away from the body as is comfortable, shifting as much as you need to make sure you're comfortable, taking the time, exploring what your body likes, settling against the mat, releasing your body here, coming to your breath. Begin to lengthen each side of the breath. And take 3 to 5 complete breaths here. Let the feeling of your body be one of sinking further and further into the floor, into the earth. Keeping the breath extended. Begin belly breathing once more, filling the abdomen with air and then emptying the air from the abdomen. Taking 5 to 10 of these breaths. Now, as you're ready, go ahead and set the belly breathing aside. Let your body find its own rhythm once more. And work on keeping your breath even, extended, and smooth. And as thoughts carry you away from the breath, find your way back each time you notice. No critiquing, no judgment. Welcoming the opportunity to be one with our body again. Getting better and better at this as we practice. Getting better and better at modifying our yoga to match our mood, our ability, our range of motion, our proportions. We'll shift into a second position with the legs either on the chair or on the wall. Bring yourself into butterfly. So begin to deeply bend the knees. Bring the feet together, maybe pressing the outer edges into the wall. Let the feet release as much as possible. And let the knees release out and open along with the thighs, the lower legs. And let's take 5 to 10 breaths here, really doing a nice kind of restorative end to our practice today. Noticing how relaxed the body is. And then very slowly make your way to a comfortable position on your side if you're on a mat. Releasing your legs from the chair if you had your legs up a chair. Laying on one side for a moment before pressing carefully and slowly up away from the floor. If you're seated on a chair, sitting up nice and tall, legs in any comfortable position that works for you. Arms extended by the sides. Inhale, we'll lift the arms up into a sun breath once more. At the end of the inhale, we'll bring our hands together, begin to exhale, close the eyes, let the hands float down the center towards the chest. Let your chin tuck towards your hands as you bow to the divine within us, always here inside of each of us. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Let your next inhale lift your chin, flutter open your eyes, release your hands, and thank you all so much for joining me for a yoga and how to modify practice. I hope I gave you some good ideas for how to maybe modify in other yoga classes. Usually there's chairs available. Any kitchen chair will do, or folding chair. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you next week. Thanks so much. Take care.